Even in 2021, people still have questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. And with cases surging in many states, we wanted to take a moment to help answer some of those questions.
Joining us today is emergency physician and member of the American College of Emergency Board of Directors, Dr. Ryan Stanton. Welcome, Dr. Stanton, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk about such an important topic.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Can you tell us a little something about, we feel like there's just a lot of misleading vaccine information out there.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest challenges we faced as emergency physicians and healthcare in general during the COVID pandemic has been the spread of misinformation. Some of that purposefully misleading, some of it by misinterpretation of the data and evidence that's out there. But living in this social media driven world and 24/7 news cycles, there's a ton of information out there. And as people grasp for the information to make their own decision, unfortunately, we're being flooded with misinformation. And as an emergency physician, as a Kentucky emergency physician, I'm seeing patients coming in every single day that have bought into one of those narratives, that now suffering from the effects of COVID-19, and the simple reality that many will not make it out of the hospital. In Kentucky, in our city centers of Louisville, Lexington, in northern Kentucky, where we have pretty good vaccination rates, but once you get outside those city centers, we're still well below that 50% mark, and that's simply not enough to protect people to the maximum level that we can with this vaccine.
So in your opinion, was the development of the vaccines, was that rushed?
That's a very common narrative that's out there. And really what happened with Operation Warp Speed had nothing to do with cutting corners. It had everything to do with cutting out red tape and taking out unnecessary hoops and delays that we see in the FDA approval process. So all the research steps, we're still there. We're still mandated. All the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trial information still had to be there. 40,000 plus people in each of the trials for the three major approved vaccines that we have, and continued monitoring. I'm actually in the Janssen or Johnson & Johnson trial and continue to do so out of Lexington. And so we're seeing that not only is it effective and safe, but with being one of the most studied medications and vaccines in the history of the world, that there's a fantastic product that provides significant safety and protection against COVID-19 with relatively low risk.
And I think this next part is a very important question. I mean, have the COVID-19 vaccines been proven to be effective and safe? And if so, how?
Well, absolutely. And I think that was a huge question coming out, and a question that many of us had when we broke down the information and the data that was provided with the vaccines. Many of us in healthcare wanted to make sure that we saw all the data, that we weren't exposing ourselves to anything that had increased risk over the benefit. And how did it do? Well, 96% of physicians have been vaccinated. 99% of emergency physicians have been vaccinated. We're some of the earliest to get in line, and we're continuing to see that benefit. Before the Delta variant, we were preventing about 90+% of all cases. With the Delta variant, that number dropped a little bit, preventing about 2/3 of cases, but still preventing about 90% of infections and about 95+% of deaths. And those deaths tend to be in those that were very high risk anyway. So we're seeing that not only is it very beneficial and effective, preventing the complications, not just death, but the long-term complications of COVID-19, but we're also seeing that it is very safe, with very few side effects and complications associated with it.
So do many people have those side effects from the vaccine? And if they do, what do they tend to be?
Well, there are some side effects, and most of them are actually your immune system getting ready to fight COVID-19. So after you get the vaccine, especially the second dose of Moderna and Pfizer, you're probably going to feel like you've got a mild case of the flu or COVID-19. Muscle aches, fever, chills, cough. That lasts about 24 hours after the onset. And most people, so basically what we tell people is just expect to be off and relax that next day. If you don't have the symptoms, which many don't, great. You have an extra day to go around and take care of things. But otherwise, you can rest and wait for your immune system to calm down. Other than that, there are very few side effects. Now, we're hearing some about the myocarditis with Johnson & Johnson. That's up to about 5 in 1 million cases, so about 1 in 200,000 will get myocarditis. Most of those are mild and self-limiting. We do hear about some mild increased risk of things such as DVTs or PEs, types of clots within the body. But if you actually compared to COVID-19, it's significantly lower. And in fact, the only thing that is higher risk with the vaccine versus COVID-19 is lymphadenopathy, meaning swelling of the lymph nodes that are part of the immune system response and nothing dangerous whatsoever. So it actually is significantly protective against COVID-19 and its effects, with very mild side effects from the vaccine and overall very significant safety and protection.
And where can people go if they want more information?
Yeah, absolutely. We want people to have the best and most accurate information out there. You can join us at acep.org, acep.org, or emergencyphysicians.org, because we want you to make your decision on the best evidence that's out there.
Dr. Stanton, thank you so much.